Hello. As it always is the case, when I sit in front of this camera, it is because I get to awesome people about very cool projects. Like today, we get to talk about a pilot project that is called Living with Water in Amsterdam, and it's being carried out within the Amsterdam Time Machine project in cooperation with another local time machine project, which is called Urban History 4D. And what is so exciting about this cooperation actually is that we were able to match these two projects within our community and now witness how our network has the potential to propel individual projects forward significantly, dare I say. So I have with me Sander Münster, who is the coordinator of the Urban History Project 4D, and Ferdinand Maywald. You are, as I just learned, you do the 3D photogrammetric activities in the project, is that right? Excellent. And I have Julia Noddergraaf, who is a coordinator of the Amsterdam Time Machine, and Daan Groot, who is student assistant at the Amsterdam Time Machine, the man on the floor for the pilot project, so to speak. How about we start with an introduction on the pilot project, maybe focusing a little bit on this project cooperation with Urban History 4D, how it came into being, what it means for the project. Who wants to go first? Julia?
Yes, I can maybe explain a little bit about the background. So in the Amsterdam Time Machine Consortium, we at the University of Amsterdam are coordinating activities that try to generate proof of concept of what this spatial temporal platform of the time machine that the time machine aims to be, what you can achieve with it for also present day urban challenges. So we collaborate with the Architecture Center in Amsterdam, with the Municipality of Amsterdam, with the Public Library, with other partners to test what a time machine approach to a topic like living with water, what that brings. So how can you bring in historical information about the city and its relation to water to meaningfully, first inform visitors of an exhibition as at the Architecture Center, to inform them about living with water in Amsterdam, and how can you use that looking back in time to also inspire new design challenges for the city of the future that is sustainable and resistant to, has strategies for coping with water. Where we looked at the Urban History 4D project was because as a public facing element of this, we want it to be possible to walk around in historical Amsterdam, at least in the virtual replica of historical Amsterdam. And for the project of Sander Münster and colleagues is actually coming up with ways to recreate the historical city of the past with computational pipelines that scale up this process and automate it so that you don't have to draw every building by hand. And well, Sander can better explain how they did that for Dresden and Jena, but the challenge here was to see if this would also work for Amsterdam, historic buildings and sites in Amsterdam. So that's where we collaborated, and the result is really nice and will become showcased in this exhibition that opens on July 8th.
So happy to connect here directly, and also from our side as working on this topic of making historical cities available, accessible visually in 4 dimensions. We are really happy and glad about this cooperation. So As already mentioned, our starting point was from a technological side at the one hand, so how to create or recreate historical city views out of imagery, historical plans, historical photographs, and so on, and how to give at the one hand an impression how a city or a specific location looked 100 years ago and how it emerged, how it evolved over times. But secondly, also to enable access to additional information, be it genealogical information or be it, I would say, urban history information as the background information for specific buildings or specific events and so on. And so against this background, we were able to test this with Jena and with Dresden so far, but of course Amsterdam provided the unique opportunity to scale up a little bit with those pipelines also to a really large scale city, also a very well documented city with regards to available material, but also of course to a wonderful use case in terms of enabling people to have an idea about this fantastic city with also the close relation in between having the city, but also the waterways there as an essential part of the city and so on. So we were really happy and glad to have opportunity to come together in this project. So maybe that's in a nutshell about our perspective on that, and maybe it would be worth to diving a little bit in how it looks like now.
Absolutely. That's a very good suggestion. That means I give the mic to Dan.
Of course, a lot of project work is done by Ferdinand because he did the photogrammetry on their side. But I can just show you, well, I'll share my screen and show you the outcome of what Ferdinand made together with input I collected.
So maybe also to explain how it works, that the input is historical photographs and contemporary photographs on 2 buildings in the harbor area, the former harbor area, the Maritime Museum currently.
And
yes.
Next to it, there is a building that's no longer existing. It's the Marine Palace, and we added that one as well because it shows the influence of waterways and how it existed in the how it used to exist, and now when you go with the time slider, you can see over time that the building isn't there anymore. So you can see the impact of building with water. The interesting thing about this is the historic photos that are overlaid on the pictures, so that you can see the facade of the building throughout the years. And we're now actually still in the back end side of it, but for the viewer end side, you can go to the other place, the other website, and here you can see the buildings standing next to each other with the time slider, and the historic pictures have a timestamp. So if you change the timestamp, the facade will change as well.
Yes,
as you can see. And then for the city also added links to Wikipedia, so that the visitor or the user can read the history directly. And the interesting thing about the Marine Palace is that it will that it shows from what time to what time historic buildings have been standing there. And if we can do this for one building, we can of course do it for all the buildings that are no longer standing here. And the idea is to link to this viewer website from 3D Amsterdam. That's the municipality model of modern day Amsterdam. But they don't have historic buildings, for example, in their view case. So the idea is to link from the modern day 3D Amsterdam to the
4D browser.
viewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this way, I think you have a nice proof of concept of, on the one hand, how you can use technology like the one developed by Ferdinand with Sander and his team to go all the way from historical city views in the form of photographs, etc., to drawing the building and also well, dressing it up as it looked like at the time. But also having these buildings as sort of anchors for the wealth of information that's behind. We're also, for instance, now discussing ways to connect all the information that the public library has on water in the city and around the city. So then this is really a nice proof of concept, we think, of how you can use the time machine and the visualization options as a sort of entry point for exploring a wealth of data on a specific topic.
Yes, that is really cool. That is very exciting. Because it is this complexity and it gives you this comprehensive picture through time. Ferdinand, I was wondering if you want to share a little bit about how you work your 3D photogrammetric magic.
Yeah, I can share a little bit about it. So the browser, I did not develop the 4D environment myself. So we had a lot of colleagues. We were starting as a junior research group in 2016. And we had this project, and it was mainly closed at the beginning to the city of Dresden. And then the project developed further and further, and we added the city of Vienna and thought, okay, maybe now we need to add or open it more up and be able to add more material to it. And so it was very useful for us to have another city, especially Amsterdam, with its rich data structures and information material about the city. And so this was really our first prototype where we opened it up, implemented something where we can add 3D models, where we can add images, and also where we can implement the orientation data. And that is my main research topic. I think it would get a little bit too technical at this point, but I'm mainly working with historical images and doing the photogrammetric structure for motion workflow on historical images. And so I'm able to estimate the orientation parameters. So also what was the focal length of the camera that was used and where was the photographer located in an automatic way. And we tried it also on the Amsterdam data, where we not only had historical images, but also these contemporary images of this one specific building. And it was working quite well. And it opened up new options on more buildings and more prototypes, I think.
Very nice. So, and if I understood correctly, there will be a final exhibition on July 8th, presenting the results. So everyone will be able to see what you guys are currently working on. So yes, I'm very excited that we get to share this cooperation and proof of concept with our community, and we'll make sure to follow up with the news on the exhibition and the results. For now, I'd say let's wrap it up. Thank you everyone for taking the time, and bye-bye for today. Bye.
Bye-bye.